The second you learn that authorities have brought a case against you, that's the second that you should start thinking about preparing both for sentencing and also for the life that you're going to leave on the other side of sentencing. And one of the things that you might want to begin thinking about is executive clemency. Executive clemency is a form of relief that only a head of state can provide. So that means the president of the United States for people who are convicted in federal court, it's only the president of the United States that can grant executive clemency. If you're convicted of a state crime, it would be the head of state, the governor for that state is the head of state, and that person has authority to grant clemency. In the federal system, it's governed by Article 2, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, which gives the president unlimited and it can't be checked pardon power. So that's in the Constitution. In fact, it actually says, I'm going to read right from the Constitution, he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So this applies in the federal system. Something similar applies in every state system. Remember, in the United States, we have 53 different criminal justice systems. We have every state, that's 50 states, has its own criminal code. The District of Columbia has its own criminal code. That's 51. The military has its own criminal code. That's 52. And then the federal government has the United States Criminal Code, which is what you're going to want to understand if you are going into the federal system. Now, executive clemency is the broad term. There are many forms. Okay, we're going to just focus on two, which one is the commutation, which means that the president can commute a sentence, meaning avoid you from going into the prison system, or lower your prison system or fine, and really just give you a shot at a new life. That's a commutation. It doesn't forgive the offense, but it does reduce the punishment based on the president's discretion. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The pardon is something different. The pardon is an actual forgiveness of the offense. It still exists, but the president has pardoned you, which effectively should restore your civil rights. You may have to fight to apply to get those civil rights fully restored, such as the right to bear arms. But if you get a pardon, your life does move forward without you being a convicted felon. At least you're somebody who has been pardoned by the president, and you could use this on your pathway to a better life. So you should be thinking very early, if this is something that you want to do, you should be thinking very early about how you can build a case that would advance you as a better candidate for executive clemency. It's not easy to get, okay? And that's the reason that you've got to start building a path very early. It's one of the reasons that I recommend you visit prisonprofessors.org and use all of our free resources, including especially building a profile. If you build a profile, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. You are going to kind of demonstrate all of the lessons that you have learned from this experience, what you've done to atone or reconcile with society or redeem yourself or build a pathway to a better life. If you are innocent and you are convicted, you can still build a story. It gives you an opportunity to build a story, and that's what life is about. It's about building a story that will take you across the finish line to get you the result that you want. I would really discourage you from hiring a prison consultant because I don't have a lot of confidence or faith in them. The vast majority of them only served like a year or 2 years or a couple of years in a single prison. And while they were there, they didn't do anything of notoriety that manifests their true expertise of preparing a pathway to excellence or best in class outcomes. And that's what you really want. You should know that I believe in you. You are the CEO of your life. And there are some things you just can't outsource. You have to do this work. You have to learn what can you do to build a pathway to something better in your life. And I share with you everything that I learned while going through 26 years in prisons. I'd love to say I came up with a strategy myself, but I didn't. I learned from great leaders, starting with Socrates and Frederick Douglass and Nelson Mandela and Viktor Frankl, but also great American business leaders like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. People who help us recognize it's our responsibility to focus on the result we want to get. We have to figure out the best possible outcome and then architect a plan that will take us from where we are to where we want to go. We have to prioritize our actions. We have to build tools, tactics, and resources that will accelerate our pathway to success. And if we define success as positioning ourselves for executive clemency, that is a legitimate goal. It's not a legitimate goal necessarily to say, I'm going to get clemency or a pardon, because you don't control that. Only the President of the United States controls that. What you have to do is build a very strong case that will advance your candidacy for clemency. And I'm not going to say you shouldn't hire somebody. Maybe you should. That's a personal call. But you should definitely not hire somebody that doesn't have expertise in building a true campaign, a campaign that is extensive and ongoing and can help you build that campaign. I believe you can do it yourself. I've been doing it myself, and I that's why I always make 3 promises. I'll never lie to you. I'll never ask you to do anything I didn't do, and I'll never charge anybody a penny for the work that we give away here at Prison Professors. We believe you should be the CEO of your life, and you should empower yourself to position yourself for clemency. Now, the great thing about clemency is it's very transparent, right? It's not. This is nothing proprietary here. You can go right to the BOP's website, not the BOP's, the Department of Justice's website. And look, you're skilled. You know how to use artificial intelligence. You could find this on your own. You could use our website to get these forms for free. But you should educate yourself first on what does it mean to get a pardon? What does it mean to get a commutation? Okay, all you have to do is fill out a form. The form is really simple. There's all kinds of information right here on the Department of Justice's website. Now, typically, what you should know is that with executive clemency, typically, an application, somebody files an application, it then goes to the Office of the Pardon Attorney, okay, and the Office of the Pardon Attorney has some rules, okay. The president doesn't have to abide by those rules, but you should know those rules and comply with them, okay. What are those rules? Well, typically a pardon, they say we won't consider a pardon request until the person is served, has been released or completed their sentence for 5 years. Okay, commutation you could apply, the day you get convicted. Okay, the truth is you could apply for both. You don't need the pardon attorney to get a pardon or a clemency. You need the president, and you need to build a case that will get the attention of the president. President Trump has a long history of granting executive clemency to people even before they applied. I mean, the first time it happened was in President Trump's first term, where he granted a pardon to Sheriff Joe Arpaio, the former sheriff in Arizona. I think it was Mesa County or some county in Arizona, and he was convicted, and President Trump pardoned him. You will see President Bush granted a commutation to Scooter Libby before Scooter Libby even went to prison. Okay, so he didn't pardon him, but he commuted the sentence so he wouldn't have to go to prison. Okay, President Trump he makes his own decisions, and he decides if somebody's worthy, he's going to make a decision. And that's something you have to consider. Right now he appointed Alice Johnson as the pardon czar. Okay, Alice Johnson was once serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. He commuted her sentence, then he pardoned her, then he made her a pardon czar so that she has a voice in assessing the system. Now, I will encourage you to be building a pathway to get the attention of people. So if you want to pursue a clemency, don't wait until the end of your term. Think today about building a body of work that will advance you as a candidate. And we offer you real tutelage on how to do that for free at prisonprofessors.org. But it starts with you telling your own story. Don't let the prosecutor's version of events define your life. Start building a story that advances you as a candidate for redemption, atonement, reconciliation, recalibration, whatever term you want to use. Just start working. I have been... I learned those lessons from great leaders. They empowered me through 26 years in prison, and it's one of the reasons that I built prisonprofessors.org as a ministry to try and help as many people as possible learn how to help themselves. I don't want people to go to prison and say, I didn't know. Okay, you should. If we do our job, we are going to advocate for more people to build pathways to the earliest possible release date at the soonest possible time. And for some people, that path may include a pursuit of executive clemency. If you're going to pursue executive clemency, I encourage you to do it as if you're the CEO of your life, with your eyes wide open, understanding every aspect of it, and then figuring out how to get there. You may want to talk to somebody before you hire anybody. I would encourage you, first of all, spend all of the time to consume the free resources at prisonprofessors.org. I would encourage you, subscribe to our newsletter so that you could learn about our advocacy steps. But if you want to talk to somebody today, sign up and go to Justin Paperny's free webinars. He hosts them every week. He is a sponsor of Prison Professors, and he's the only one that I trust to give valid information and not try to sell you on some promise that only you can deliver. You are the power in your life, and you need to learn how to use all of your critical thinking and intelligence to get the outcome that you want. So you can see him at whitecollaradvice.com/nonprofit. I am Michael Santos, founder of Prison Professors, and I believe in you.